In today's video, we'll be taking a look at some of my pickups from Free Comic Book Day 2025, along with brief tours of two of my local comic book shops. I, like many, love Free Comic Book Day, and I can't wait to talk about it today. So go ahead, get comfortable, and let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Dominic, and you're watching The Comic Book Report, where we review comic books and graphic novels so you can get an idea of what to read. And as I said at the top, we're taking a look at my Free Comic Book Day coverage for 2025. To kick that off, kind of like I did last year, we're going to be doing brief tours of some local shops I went to. The first being over here, Southern California Comics. They, the last couple years, have also had kind of a vendor-driven street fair-like event in their little plaza here. We have that along with the actual comic book store itself. This is a real treasure trove for comic books, single issues, collectibles, things like that. I've really enjoyed popping by this store in recent years, and this was another great year. So kicking off my morning, I waited in line, and we go straight for the Free Comic Book Day issues to start off. They had a couple tables set up with all of their 2025 Free Comic Book Day books, and like the recent years as well, Southern California Comics also had another table or two of older Free Comic Book Day books, or just random backlog miscellaneous comic books you could pick through. This year, I got to choose 5 from the stack here. And I did stop with my family for this first local comic shop, and so they actually gave me a couple of their options or choices for books, and then they picked up some of their own. I'll show you everything I got for Free Comic Book Day later on in this video after the tours. And as you can see, after the Free Comic Book Day line itself, I went straight into the vendors for this little street fair event. They had a lot of little canopies there. It was actually light rain this morning, so I was really happy to see a lot of the canopies for their goods and wares. But we had a lot of people selling action figures, toys, memorabilia, some sort of individualized arts. We had smaller niche comic book publishers or self-publishers present as well, some kind of comic book artist type people, and just a lot of fun mix and match kind of vendors. Some of the highlights for me in the actual vendor part of this fair this year was seeing a lot of the collectibles or action figures, a lot of the Marvel figures, DC figures, and even some Godzilla, Universal Monster type figures. That was one of a highlight for me. Last year, this vendor fair had a person that had kind of individual stickers for sale. I wish they were back this year. I didn't see them this time around, but there was certainly a lot of great booths set up. This tour video doesn't go booth by booth. I just kind of am showing you a brief snapshot of some of my favorites as I was walking through. This was a real hit with my boys as well, especially seeing some of their favorite superheroes in action figure form. I really had a lot of fun here. After I went through the vendors, the only thing left to do for me was to actually go into Southern California Comics itself. I'll show you a brief tour of some of the rooms of this comic shop. It's out of kind of a business district warehouse kind of feel, as you probably saw in some of my overview shots already, but this is a really fantastic shop. Okay, and with that, we can go ahead and make our way into Southern California Comics. I did a couple of kind of panning shots just to give you an idea of some of the rooms and the volume that this store has. I was happy to see a lot of people patronizing this store, coming in and buying. I did myself as well. I really wanted to support local with these two shops, especially when I came through for Free Comic Book Day. I was just so happy they continued to host this event, and I had a great time. My family had a really good time for the most part, and it was just a real blast. Now, this shop for me has always been overwhelmingly catered to single issues, like many comic book shops out there. We have a lot of the modern kind of weekly releases. We have a whole back issue section that maybe has the last 6 months of issues or so. We have some deep back stock. Everything is categorized and broken down by publishers. Around kind of all the corners of the shop, we also have a vast collection of collected editions. I really like this as well. Just massive shelves and libraries of collected editions, so that was really fun. And I did pick up a couple of collected editions from this shop that, again, I'll show you later in the video. Another cool thing about this shop is that it does have a couple under the glass section. I got to see some real classic issues. They seem to have a really big showcasing this time of kind of classic Spider-Man keys, which was really fun to see. Of course, we had some graded comics at the shop as well. They had stuff kind of hung up near the tops of the ceilings, which was always fun. A lot of cool posters, memorabilia, things like like that. But this is a real single issue collector's dream, but still a lot of fantastic collected editions. Now, they did have some good value kind of dollar bin comics. Of course, they had the free comics. For collected editions, though, as far as I could tell, there was no real sales, but again, the collection was enormous, and I wanted to do my part to help support this business, as well as just saying thank you for hosting this amazing free comic event. So I did pick up 2 collections today, but again, I'll show you that in a little bit. As you can see, just an absolutely massive comic book shop. Again, I was really thankful to check this out. Regionally, this shop is a little bit further away from me, so I really only come here on more special occasions or events like this, but it is always a real treat. And again, this is just a quick overview. There's a lot more rooms and kind of items here, of course, but I just wanted to give you an idea, especially if you're in the Southern California area, this might be a store to check out. I know I had an absolute blast here. And there's some of the Spider-Man keys I mentioned earlier in the video for you to take a look at under their glass case. Really beautiful to see. And just one last final shot, and then we'll move on to the next local comic shop. The second and final stop for today on Free Comic Book Day was another local shop. Of course, I'm talking about Knowhere Games and Comics. I really love this store quite a bit. This is probably my most local comic shop, or at least the one I go to most frequently nearby, and it was another really great setup. We had a lot of cool comic book creators, artists, things like that. Of course, we had the free comic books themselves. We were allowed to pick 3 from this venue, which was quite kind, plus a bonus one they kind of threw in there for us. I will just show you as well kind of a couple panning shots similar to the previous comic shop, just to give you an idea of this shop. Again, I'm not showing everything. It was another gigantic shop. This one also, in addition to comics, single issues, collected editions, they also had a really vast library of different tabletop games, role-playing games, card games, things like that. Memorabilia, of course, statues, figures. So this is kind of a one-stop shop for all of your greater comic book world sort of needs, or again, card games, board games, things like that. A really fun shop here. Another thing about Knowhere this year, which I really appreciated, in addition to the free comic book day issues and having some comic creators show up to do signings and drawings and things like that, they also had a host of sales, which was really fun. I took advantage of the buy 2 get 1 free, which was fun. I picked up some stuff for my wife and kiddos as well. Again, I'll show you what I got for myself later in this video when I take a look at everything free comic book day I walk away with. But yeah, this was another really great shop experience. Before we get there, though, again, just a couple more panning shots to give you an idea of this comic shop. Again, this was another great shop. The customer service was excellent, as always, and I just really had a good experience. It's been a while since I've taken the time to look through their collected edition area, and I found myself just poring over them, seeing what I would like to maybe add to the collection. They, of course, had trade paperbacks, hardcovers, big omnibus editions, and even bigger formats, I noticed. A lot of the major publishers, they definitely didn't shy away from some of the smaller independent publishers as well, which is always fun to see. They also had a manga section for fans of that. So definitely some really cool stuff here at Knowhere. Another thing I really love about Knowhere is that the owner definitely tries to get in some comic book talent, creators, different things like that. It's a really fun way to meet people in the comic book industry, and I'm just so happy that this shop hosts things like that. And this is definitely one of those events. Just for fun now, again, a couple more of those panning shots just to see how epic this store is. And with that done, we have finished the tour portion of today's video, and we can transition to the actual free comic books, along with some of the other collected editions I picked up, my haul from Free Comic Book Day 2025. Okay, so again, for the remainder of this video, we're looking at the free comic book issues I picked up this year, and then toward the back, I will look at the collected editions I picked up. I did get a total of 4 comic book collected editions, 2 from DC, 1 from Marvel, and 1 from Image. But yeah, these are the actual free comic book day books I picked up this year. There were a couple others that, again, my wife picked up, and the boys, a lot of the more little kid stuff. I'm not going to be showcasing all of that today. These are just explicitly my pickups for the year. And just a word on the kind of format for the remainder of this video, I'll be doing a quick look at the front of the single issues along with brief flip-throughs of the issues. I'm not really going to speak to plot lines here, but there might be some spoilers on the pages, so just be advised on that if that's going to bother you. I'm going to try to speak generally about them. I'm not maybe going to speak every single one individually, but I will do a flip-through, so again, you can get an idea. The first book here, this was my most wanted pickup. This is the Amazing Spider-Man Ultimate Universe issue that was released for Free Comic Book Day this year. I love the front cover. We have Spider-Man along with the Maker in the background. Just such an evocative image. If you're a Marvel fan like me, I hope you've been excited about this recent Marvel Ultimate Universe that's been running a little over a year now. I sure am. I've been getting a lot of the Volume 1 paperbacks. I know a lot of the Volume 2s have already been released. So I have to do a little bit of catch up. I know some of you maybe read the single issues as well, so you are way further along than me, but I have really enjoyed just about every piece of this new Ultimate Marvel Universe I've encountered so far. For me, the top of the heap so far is Jonathan Hickman's Ultimate Spider-Man, but all of it has been fun in one way or another for me, so when I saw this single issue, I knew this would be one I wanted to check out. Another one really high on my list to pick up was this Fantastic Four X-Men issue. I'm a huge fan of both of those franchises as well. I didn't know much about this Free Comic Book Day issue, but again, I'm a huge sucker for Fantastic Four. With the First Steps movie coming out later this year, I knew I wanted to pick up the Free Comic Book Day issue if I found it. So between this and the Ultimate Spider-Man issue I just spoke on, I was really happy because these were really the main two I was hoping to pick up for Free Comic Book Day, just for myself. After that, there were a little bit more of a handful I was hoping to grab, especially with some of the smaller publishers, whether I had talked to some of the comic creators on this channel or I had just been aware of some of these franchises recently or have explored them. I was hoping to get the Free Comic Book Day versions of some of the books. But yeah, really successful little haul today. But yeah, this one's really great. I really love the Fantastic Four just in general, so I was really happy to grab this one. Okay, next up was Gargoyles Demona. This is the Free Comic Book Day issue from Dynamite, and I was really eager to try to pick this one up as well if I could, primarily because I spoke to Greg Weisman about it on the channel when he returned to do a secondary interview. He mentioned this very Free Comic Book Day issue, so I knew when I talked to him I would really try to find a way to pick this up as well. I really am happy I was able to snag a copy. I haven't read this yet. In fact, I haven't really read in detail any of the Free Comic Book Day issues yet, just kind of brief flip throughs, and again, just doing what I can to get a video out to all of you who hopefully are interested in Free Comic Book Day. Maybe you went out yourselves, or you're just interested in seeing some coverage. I know I've done a Free Comic Book Day video the last couple years on the channel. I was looking forward to that. I hope you were as well. Let me know in the comments too if you've been following any of Weisman's recent Gargoyles universe over at Dynamite from the last couple years. I know I reviewed Here in Manhattan, the first collection, but there's been spin-offs now like this one here with Gargoyles Demona and many more. Next on this list is a book from Madcave. This is Speed Racer, issue 0. I know David Papose is attached to this book. He was someone else I spoke to on the channel recently. We were talking about his upcoming Captain Planet book from Dynamite that I think just got released this week or is coming this forthcoming week. Anyway, let me know what you think of that. But this was a friend of the channel as well, and I heard that he was doing a Speed Racer book for Madcave. So when I saw this, I was reminded of that interview, so I wanted to pick it up. Speed Racer also generally is a franchise I am well aware of for most of my life, between cartoon adaptations. I think it was a manga at one point. I know the Wachowskis did a live action movie at some point. Anyway, a really beloved franchise. I'm happy to see it in comic book format, potentially again here. And I just thought it looked really cool. I like the cover. I see a little feature from Racer X. What's not to like? Okay, next up is the Energon Universe Free Comic Book Day issue. This is from Skybound over at Image Comics. I know that this is kind of the Transformers, maybe G.I. Joe crossover universe that's been going on the last couple years. Hopefully I have that right. I've heard a lot of really positive reception on a lot of these titles in the Energon universe, and so I thought I'd pick it up. I am a fan of Transformers loosely. I've never read the comic book incarnations. G.I. Joes, I played with the action figures, but again, I don't know much of the comic book history there, although I know it is well regarded. But I know a lot of people are really excited for all this stuff going on at Skybound, so this was definitely on my list to try to snag if I saw it, so here we are. This is another one. In the comments section, if you've been following any of the Energon universe over at Skybound and Image, let me know in the comments. Is it worth picking up? What are maybe some titles that are easy to access for people like me that are vaguely aware of these franchises, but maybe have not read the comic book incarnations of them? Where's a good place to jump on? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay, moving right along, this is the Phantom from Madcave Studios. This is another really older kind of property, kind of a pulp sort of figure. This character's been around for a long time. I know there was a live action movie of this character at one point, and it's fun to see Madcave get this property. I know they have other older school licenses, like Flash Gordon, for example, which has been really fun from Jeremy Adams. So I thought it would be fun to take a look at the Phantom. Again, this is a character I am loosely culturally aware of, but I'm just fascinated to see a comic book incarnation here, and it just has such a striking cover, and it's free comic book day. I thought, why not take a chance, pick it up, and see what it's all about. I know some people really like this property, so hopefully if you've been on the fence about it, you can take a look at this free comic book day issue and decide if you'd like to pursue further from Madcave Studios. This was another fun one I thought I had to pick up. This is I Hate Fairyland's free comic book day issue. This is Scotty Young and team. I've always loved Scotty Young's visual style. What I've read of I Hate Fairyland over the years has been a real treat. I just love, again, that visual style here. Scotty Young has such a unique artistic flavor, and this really gives you kind of an overview of that main comic book series, and again, a kind of storytelling format. While we still have a lot of art, we also have a lot of text, as you can see flipping through here. But I thought that this was a really fun showcasing for Free Comic Book Day. I was actually surprised to see this on the list. I know they revived I Hate Fairyland not too long ago, so maybe that's why it's kind of back culturally. But yeah, I just thought this was a fun kind of selection here for Free Comic Book Day. When I saw it, I knew I had to pick it up. How can you not enjoy Scotty Young art? Next on the list today is a Godzilla Free Comic Book Day issue, and this is of course by way of IDW. I know I reviewed a Godzilla collection not too long ago on the channel, or I think I released that review already. Anyway, I had a ton of fun with it. I grew up with Godzilla, a lot of the movies, but I'm just recently starting to dip my toe into the comic book world. Godzilla comics have a lot of fantastic art I've come to find, and I'm really enjoying this here. Again, I saw it on the Free Comic Book Day pile. I knew I had to pick it up just for nostalgia's sake. The cover in particular was just gorgeous. IDW has had so many fun releases lately, and again, this just looked like a real winner to me, so when I saw it, I thought, you know what, this is definitely a free comic I want to check out. Another property, though, that I would love to get more comic book recommendations for. Again, I'm brand new to the Godzilla comic book world, but I'm a longtime fan of Godzilla in other mediums. Okay, I did decide to pick up Conan, Scourge of the Serpent, which is of course from Titan Comics and Heroic Signatures. They are friends of the channel as well. I've reviewed a couple Conan books from them, and this one is also, it appears to be written by Jim Zub. I know he's been doing a lot of the ongoing Conan titles in recent years. The art in this book is, as always, fantastic for a Conan book. If you like kind of dark, action-heavy fantasy or sword and sorcery genre, there's maybe no better example than Conan the Barbarian, and certainly what Titan's been pumping out lately, especially if you don't mind more explicit content. I know it's kind of on the border for me, but if you don't mind that stuff and you like an action-heavy series, they've got a lot of really incredible Conan stuff recently. The fact that we get a little sampling of the whole Conan universe here at Free Comic Book Day, just a really, really fun piece. I think that with Conan's kind of episodic like nature too, it's a really fun choice for Free Comic Book Day. You'll have to let me know if you enjoy the issue. Okay, next up I thought was a really interesting one. I will admit the cover didn't grab me necessarily, but it's a Boom 20th anniversary kind of showcase here for Free Comic Book Day. I really love Boom Studios. I like a lot of the works from there, and what we have here is kind of a celebration of their history. It's a little bit of a medley showcasing a couple pages from some of their big hits. Like we start the book with Berserker, we get little pages from Irredeemable and other franchises. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 different franchises collected in this Free Comic Book Day issue, but again, just a couple pages each. But this was a cool kind of sampler, I guess we'll call it, for people that maybe have wanted to check out Boom Studios or maybe want to remember some of the greater hits. You can pick this up and get a kind of idea of some of the Boom Studios titles. Oh my gosh, they also had The Many Deaths of Layla Starr in here, so maybe it's closer to 5? I'm not sure. We had a lot here in this one issue. I did kind of flip through this one a little bit more. Very fun stuff. Okay, last but not least, Planet Death. So admittedly, this was a free issue that my local comic shop, Knowhere Games and Comics, was handing out to anyone over 18. This is a more action-heavy sci-fi series, and I think one of the creators involved here was also involved with John Wick. Admittedly, I know next to nothing about this title other than what the comic shop owner told me, and so I decided to just pick it up. This isn't one of the formal Free Comic Book Day titles, and yet he was giving it away at Free Comic Book Day, so again, I grabbed a copy. I don't know a ton about this again, but if you do, let me know in the comments. I think the art is pretty fantastic. It looks really cool, kind of neo-future sci-fi action thriller. So that's definitely the vibe I get just looking at the art and flipping through real quick. But yeah, and also the texturing for this issue, it's less glossy. It has more of a texture to it. I found that to be surprising, but I thought I'd showcase it. Okay, and last up, to wrap up this video, I did want to talk about my purchases from these local comic shops. I did buy these 4 comic book collected editions for my personal collection. We have the Batman White Knight Generation Joker. We have the Red Coat from Ghost Machine over at Image Comics. I did buy Volume 1 of the New Ultimates from Marvel's New Ultimate Universe. And I even picked up that Batman Elmer Fudd Deluxe Edition from DC Comics. I'm not sure how much I've shared this on the channel, but I'm a huge Looney Tunes fan. I'm a huge Batman fan, obviously, and I never read this collaboration. I've heard such good things about it. I know they recently released this deluxe edition, so yeah, these were my pickups. So like the Free Comic Book Day issues, I'm just going to do a brief flip through. So again, minor spoilers as far as what you'll see on the page. I'm not going to speak to anything too great a detail for spoilers, but just a heads up. So yeah, this is the Ultimates Volume 1 from the New Ultimates universe. I believe this also has the Ultimate Universe one-shot, if I'm not mistaken, which was sorely missing from the Ultimates Invasion trade paperback I reviewed on the channel not too long ago. So I'm really happy to check that out and then read issues of the proper Ultimates series. This is one of my most anticipated releases from this last year, and I've been a little delayed picking it up, so I'm so eager to finally jump in. Let me know if you'd like to see a full review of this book or any of the other comic collected editions I'm showcasing on this video, and I'll see what I can do. I'm really happy to have this in the collection, along with the rest I'm going to be talking about today. I personally can tell just flipping through this right here that I'm going to love this. I think the art is fantastic, and just some of the characters I see popping up, I just can't wait to jump right in to the Ultimates from this new Marvel Ultimate Universe. Next pickup for me was the Red Coat Volume 1 from Ghost Machine over at Image Comics. This was written by Jeff Johns with art from Brian Hitch and team, and this is again a huge one I've been wanting to check out. I know this is part of their unnamed shared universe with characters like Geiger and Junkyard Joe, who I've reviewed extensively on the channel. Red Coat is a book I've heard a lot of people talk positively about, like many of these Ghost Machine titles, but for a long time now I've held off picking this up. Well, maybe not a long time. I think this trade paperback at the time of the recording is only a month or two old, but even when single issues were coming out, I was tempted to maybe pick up an issue or two, and I held off, but the time is ripe. I finally get to experience Red Coat for myself. If you've enjoyed this series, if you're still caught up with it, let me know in the comments, what do you think about it? I was a huge fan of Geiger and Junkyard Joe, and I assume I'm going to be a fan of this as well, but honestly, I can't wait to get started. I'm so happy I found a copy today. Next up today, we have Batman White Knight Presents Generation Joker. This is part of DC Comics' Black Label, created by Sean Murphy and Katana Collins here. This is another one of the Batman White Knight universe offshoots as far as I can tell, so I think it's in a similar vein as the Batman White Knight Presents Harley Quinn. I've heard mixed reviews about this particular collection, and at the time of the recording, this is the most modern story in collected edition. I believe it occurs after Beyond the White Knight. So with this in my collection, I now have, in some format or another, all of the White Knight collected editions. I think I have 2 paperbacks and 3 standard size hardcovers. No deluxes, so my formats are all over the place. I'm still reading Beyond the White Knight. That's actually the entry I'm currently on, so I will probably get to this after that. But I am a huge fan of the Batman White Knight universe in general, and I've really enjoyed all the entries I've read thus far. I'm hoping I enjoy this. Again, I've heard a little bit more mixed reviews here, but I'm excited to finally have it in the collection and round out the White Knight universe so far. And finally, to round out today's video, we have, of course, Batman Elmer Fudd, the Deluxe Edition by Tom King and Lee Weeks from DC Comics. Now, my understanding is this is a recent release, this Deluxe Edition. I never had the opportunity to read this incredible Batman Looney Tunes collaboration in the past, although I have heard great things. I think that part of the content, if not all of it here, will be included in the upcoming Tom King Batman Omnibus Volume 1, if I'm not mistaken. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong. However, I did pick up all 6 of the Tom King Deluxe Editions once upon a time, so I'm not sure if I'm going to upgrade to the Omnibus or not. So in the meantime, I decided to go ahead and grab this Deluxe Edition, and I can't wait to dive in. It's Batman, it's Elmer Fudd, it's deep noir genre from my understanding of it, and I can't wait. I think this one will be one I review on the channel, so if you're interested in seeing my coverage of it, please stay tuned in coming weeks to the Comic Book Report. But I'm so happy to have finally picked this up. And just like that, another free comic book day wrap-up video for the books here at the Comic Book Report. I've so enjoyed putting this together today. I've enjoyed frequenting free comic book day every year that I'm able, and this was definitely no exception. I hope you've enjoyed it today. Like I said, I try to do a brief tour of the local comic shops along with my pickups. I would love to hear in the comments section, did you go out for free comic book day this year? Have you in years past? Did you pick up any of the titles here in the video? What about the collected editions? Let me know all of that in the comments section, and as always, thank you so much for watching. This has been the Comic Book Report. Please don't forget to leave your like, comment, and maybe check out another video on your way out. Thanks everyone, and have a good one.